Um, Welcome everyone to the Tech and AI for Impact talk today, here and in our webinar series for enhancing social innovation in the Baltic Sea region. My name is Tobias Oertel from Zukunft 2, and me and my colleague Mark will present today and give a little bit of an overview. And for everyone joining who are not familiar with the Resist project, I have a really small and fast summary. So the Resist project is an acronym for the Regional Ecosystem for Social Innovation project. And it is a project where regional authorities, business support organizations, and sectoral agencies develop a model of how to open up existing regional innovation ecosystem for social innovators and social entrepreneurs to tackle social or environmental challenges. And the project is running right now, and a lot of people here in the call are also part of the team, of the Resist team. And we're doing now like a little detour in the world of tech and AI for impact and connecting these with our findings of the Resist project. Who we are, Zukunft 2, we are a consultant agency, and we are mainly focused in supporting organizations, projects, networks, and teams in driving social transformation towards a sustainable or just society. And we are based in Berlin and also in Hamburg, which is important because the whole Resist project is led by the lead partners in Hamburg by the BWI. And what we want today, or what we will talk about today, is we will talk about social innovators and social entrepreneurs who are using AI, so about the use cases in Europe. We will talk about how to implement AI in your impact organizations. We will talk about resources and general information sources you can use as a social innovation or social entrepreneur actor. And we'll talk about an ecosystem in Europe for artificial intelligence, but also social innovation. What we'll not talk about today is, in general, what is AI, not the tech perspective, not the philosophical concept, what you can have about consciousness or something. And what we also not will be able to tackle because of the time is the ethical and climate perspective on AI, which is huge. And there are a lot of topics that I would like to have included today, but the time is limited. So we'll focus on the topics that we said before. And the webinar today will be structured in two parts. There will be part one, where we will talk about European and national AI impact initiatives and use cases. There will be examples. Then we'll talk about how to implement artificial intelligence in impact organizations and also what resources are there. Then we'll have discussion groups. So it's not a one-way format. We want to have a good discussion about this topics, and especially what your impact organizations can tackle for problems with AI in your organization. And then in part two, we'll zoom out and we'll talk about AI ecosystems, social innovation and social entrepreneurial ecosystems, and also why Europe has a potential to build an AI social impact ecosystem in general. And the discussion group there will be yeah, what piece of the puzzle basically could be your organization or your regional development to be part of this AI ecosystem. So let's start. You're all familiar with Wikipedia, I guess. So Wikipedia is here as an example and a metaphor for a digital social innovation that yeah, is implemented and used all around the globe and has a significant impact on our knowledge society. And why we use this as a metaphor is this was Web 2.0 innovation. And the interesting part for us today to talk about is why is Wikipedia based in the United States and not in Europe? And how could we make possible that future social innovation that is digital and possibly with AI could be from Europe? And to give you like a little bit, just some small glimpses of what is happening when you, for example, Google social impact and artificial intelligence. I'll give you two examples, but these are just like on the like big news scale, but for me, they were quite interesting. So one example is that there's a split of OpenAI, so the people who built ChatGPT, and the split of Anthropic is a B corporation, and the B corporation is is a legal entity, and that is how to say. You cannot just call you a B corporation. You have to fulfill certain requirements. So for Anthropic, it's really important to do safe AI development. And as a B corporation, still they're working, for example, with Amazon. And they have huge investments into this company. And it's really like one of the big players at the moment when it is about AI. And they are B corporation. That's, for example, interesting. And what's also interesting, what's happening in Europe. So in Denmark, they have a new supercomputer, Gefion, and this supercomputer is built with NVIDIA and the state of Denmark. And the supercomputer enables or gives compute to certain challenges. And these are social impact challenges like infectious diseases, climate change, and food security. So Denmark is one state in the European Union that is building an infrastructure for social impact compute, which will be one important resource for the European ecosystem around that. And so you see there are some developments around this topic also in the US. And what is important for us is there is still a lot to do and there is still a lot of potential. So these are just, little flowers in a garden that has to be created yet. So what we'll try to do now is to detach ourselves from this global perspective that is mainly focused on the US and China. And we'll try to have a look at Europe and give some example for AI impact projects here. And one example is from Sweden. So first I will try to explain a little bit what national initiatives can do to support AI for impact. So in Sweden, they built this entity, AI Sweden, that is the National Center for Applied AI, and brings more than 140 partners together. As you can see in this, like uh, with all the tiny logos there. But they bring some big companies, but also local companies and the private sector together to implement AI in Sweden. And they also, on a smaller scale, it's really not like their main target, but they also have calls for AI for impact. These are funded by private partners. But so they have a one-stop solution for AI in Sweden, and their biggest part is not AI for impact, but it is on their screen and they're working on it. This is one example, and the next example is from Germany. That is because we are based in Germany and we know mostly a lot of things about German AI ecosystem or digital ecosystem, but also we were part of one of these examples. So we have also the project lead from our side here in the call, Laura, from our team. And it is the Civic Coding Initiative, which I'll explain a little bit more detail in shortly. But it tackles mostly the implementation of AI in civil society and social innovation. Then we have other entities, for example, the Sprint, which really focus on big radical innovations. Among them is AI and computing, but they also have like energy infrastructure and some others, and they have really like huge financial possibilities to fund certain innovations. And for example, there are examples like the GovTech campus, which implements digital and AI governance in state institutions, but many more. So there are different actors that are tackling this digital innovation and AI in Germany. And we'll have a closer look to one of them, which is the Civic Coding Initiative. And this initiative is funded by 3 different ministries. So these different federal ministries came together to tackle this challenge. This is Labor and Social Affairs, Family Affairs, Senior Citizens, Women and Youth, and also like in the competition for the longest name, this federal ministry won Federal Ministry for Environment, Natural Preservation, Nuclear Safety, and Consumer Protection. So a lot of target groups here combined in these ministries, and they came together and have this Civic Coding Initiative. It's still running, and it's tried to strengthen the data and AI expertise in civil society through different measures. And we as Zukunft 2, this year, we consulted over 80 impact organizations with implementation of AI or other needs. And now what I would like to do is to give a small glimpse into this like 80 projects. And don't worry, it won't be 80 examples. We just picked 3. But we thought that these 3 examples give you a good overview of the variety, what you could do with AI or what some civil society or innovation actors are already doing and trying to solve. So the first example is Seagrass Watch or Ghost Nets by the WWF. And they tried to bring together an AI solution that tackles the challenge that, first of all, they're all over the ocean. There are ghost nets, which are like abandoned fisher nets, and they're trying to see where they are. And the problem with the ghost nets is that there are declining the seagrass meadows, who are a huge storage front for CO2 emissions. and they also disturb the marine ecosystem in general. And the solution is to of course locate these ghost nets and then restore the meadows. And they're doing this with different combination. So they're analyzing the data that they already have, and they try to see if there are patterns in where these ghost nets are located, and also they're collecting data. So they're scraping data from various sources, and they're also, of course, anonymizing the data. And they're trying to do this to have a higher efficiency in identifying ghost nets and restore the seagrass meadows. And they combine different technologies to enable this, which is AOV, artificial intelligence, sonar, and web scraping. So this is one example. Another example is der Deutsche Gehörlosenbund. So this is a civil society foundation built for the interest of deaf people in Germany, and they have a huge problem that they are, of course, dependent on translators in some situations. And as you know, most of the situations are designed for people who are able to hear. And also the written language doesn't correspond to the sign language. And translations are often done from people who are able to hear. And to tackle this, the AI learns signs or learns sign language from existing archive of video material. And then it refers to the special logic of and the special culture of the sign language, and is able to give a clearer translation from the perspective of the deaf community. And the advantage here is that it makes authentic and simultaneously translation, and yeah, and that it is also affordable. So this is also one impact solution. And the last one, don't worry, is from Ashoka. And I think some of you might know Ashoka already. So it's a global network of change makers, and it's a very diverse organization all around the globe. And they they created an own AI lab, and this own AI lab builds innovative solutions for internal use for this organization. And basically everyone in the organization can co-partner with this AI lab and say, like, I have this problem. Please, could you support me in building an AI solution? Is it possible? And then they have like co-authorship, so to say, in the innovation project. And they had the challenge that some solution that they built were small, just applicable to some use cases, but some of them were really big. And like I said, the organizational structure of Ashoka is not very hierarchical. So they needed a solution to communicate basically the good solutions that they developed to all the partners and make it like really easy to implement them. And together we developed a communication strategy to reach all the stakeholders at the right time to implement the developed solution of the AI lab. So I think what you're able to see is that these AI for impact use cases that we picked have really different scales and different also forms of maturity of AI use in the organization. Some of them are focused on external impact problems, Some of them are focused on internal efficiency problems in the impact organizations. So we have a small recap here because there was a little bit of input here. So what is mostly important from that part is that there are initiatives on national level to explore AI for social innovation and social impact in the EU. So they exist. There are also impact organizations that are applying AI. And there are also good examples how to do that from our regional ecosystems. So the next big chapter that we are focusing on in part 1 is how to implement AI in your organization, in your impact organization. And this is the other way to frame that. We need to do something with AI. And these are like famous last words before a lot of time and resources are wasted. So let's see how not to waste a lot of resources. And to collect that, also from the experience of the like 80 projects, we came up with what can go wrong basically. So it is really important that there are a lot of times also from the people who know AI really good, also from the people who are consulting on AI like us, there are wrong or too big expectations about technology. So there is overhyped potential, and this could lead to unrealistic goals, and also a misalignment between what AI can do and what is expected. I think that's, in general, in these times, really important where we are in the AI hype cycle. So be aware there. We won't save any like bigger challenge just by AI. Also, if Silicon Valley tells us that, that is not the solution. Problems we solve with AI has to be understood, and if they are not understood, that is a big challenge. So lack of clarity on the issue AI is meant to address is a problem, and the root cause of the problem should be aware. That's the basic math. And so what's really necessary is a clear problem definition and realistic expectations. It sounds like really a no-brainer, like this chart, but it is not, especially like in 2023 to 2024. This is one of the biggest waste of times and resources because this like it's really easy to get into this hype. So we changed the like formula a little bit. So we don't need to do something with AI, but we can try to solve problem X with AI application or model Y. So it is important to be careful with implementing AI because a lot of different stakeholders have to be involved in bringing this solution to your organization. And if you're not setting this project or implementation up in a careful way, then you'll waste everyone's time and most of the time also some resources for it. Also, what is important is to avoid unnecessary use of AI. So if you use AI for a problem that could be solved simpler, that's also a huge problem because AI is really bad at the moment for the climate. And that's a big challenge for the whole artificial intelligence topic, how to not ruin the climate with artificial intelligence. And also, if you misuse it or deploy it in the wrong way, it could also have other impacts. For example, you could unfortunately discriminate people by using algorithms, because algorithms are like always biased, and you have to find the right algorithms that are biased in a way that it is acceptable. And so we want to draw some learnings from another project we were involved for the Federal Ministry for Labor. And we researched the impact on AI on the labor market, but also on organizations and the workplace. And we integrated here a link to the English policy papers and research posters. So you can have a look afterwards if you're super interested into that topics. But we'll just have a small look into the main facts that we can derive from that as to how could or what could be a successful way to implement AI. So we'll not take the deeper detour to the labor market, but focus on like one specific aspect of this research. And this research, really important, is not done in an impact sector, but in a general economy. And the organizations that were researched are big international corporations. And what the study found was that when implementing AI, and to do it really successful, that co-creation is the way to go, basically. So also in like big organizations, in implementing it into this context, there are so many different stakeholders that have to be involved in a really fast way, because the technological development is really fast, that it is really hard to make this implementation user-centered. And the easiest way is to co-create it with a lot of different people from the organizations and to tackle the challenges collectively. And by doing this, by implementing it in this way, it reaches a higher quality, the result is better, and also the acceptance, which is really important, the acceptance of the employee of the AI solution is quite high. Because if you approach them in a transparent way and you tell them what you are trying to solve with the solutions, it's a good way to do that. This might sound to a lot of you who are in the social innovation sector like basic math, but for a huge international corporation, co-creation is not an easy topic and is most of the time not a well experienced method. What is also said in this paper is that social impact of AI still receives little attention in this implementation processes. So the main focus by the bigger implementations with these companies is on human-centered implementation, so that the employees are in the focus. But the social impact of the implementation most of the time is not a big topic. And also in context of this, the Minister of Labor in Germany made this statement that in 2035 in Germany, there will be not a single job that is unaffected or not using AI in the workplace. So that's quite, I think, a good example of how wide-ranging the impact of artificial intelligence on our work will be, but also that we as social innovators can have a look for the potentials and for using it, but also for the harms and how to prevent harms. So let's sum this up. Successful AI implementation needs collaboration from a lot of different stakeholders in the organization. Co-creation enables to tackle this challenge collectively and to find user-centered solutions. And co-creation in implementation leads to a higher acceptance and better quality of the AI solution. And our thesis towards this is that social innovators and social entrepreneurs have a high expertise to apply co-creation methods. So you basically have one of the core skill sets to implement AI into an organization. And the other two things to keep in mind from the research is AI will have a key impact on our work, but also on our society. And the social impact of AI so far receives little attention. And with that, I will give the microphone to Mark.
Hello together. Thank you, Toby. Okay, so for the next 4 minutes, real quick, we will give you some links and resources about how you can actually learn more about AI so we're not diving into the topic in this webinar, and also what kind of AI resources and tech resources you can get for more affordable prices if you're a nonprofit organization or social innovator or social entrepreneur. So first of all, let's dig in a little bit into TechSoup. TechSoup is a nonprofit organization, or actually it's a social innovation that focuses on collecting different offers from big tech companies that are suitable for NGOs and also social innovators. So for example, Amazon Web Services, they offer specific programs for nonprofit organizations that are made more affordable and also tailored to the needs. Let's say, for example, to the diverse funding needs of social innovators and NPOs. Or also Salesforce has a CSR program where they basically almost donate like 1% of all the software they're producing to nonprofit organizations. Or also Microsoft offers a lot of their AI programs to NPOs to NPOs exactly. And you can find all this on TechSoup. We put a link there, and now we will talk a little bit about courses and newsletters. If you could go into the next slide, thank you. As we're not talking about what is AI and all the basics of it, we thought it would be nice for you if someone wants to get into it or dive into it a little bit deeper. We have like a selection of courses we found would be nice, and there are big courses from Google. Elements of AI is provided by the University of Helsinki, and also from Microsoft or Applied AI. And there are some newsletters like Wired, which has a more holistic approach on tech and AI. If you just want to keep yourself up to date when it comes to technology or AI. But there are also more specific newsletters like Wonder Tools or Prompts Daily that are very specific for AI tools and how to use AI. In the next slide, I will just tell you a little bit more about 2 courses. If you want to dive in a little bit more into the topic of AI, there's the Google AI Essential course, which has topics like how to maximize your productivity with AI tools. They basically go through like what is an AI tool, how to use it, how to stay up to date with AI, and what is nice also, they also teach you how to choose the right AI tools and evaluate if it's the right use case for your organization. Exactly. And the next slide, thank you. Elements of AI, they have 2 big courses made from the University of Helsinki. which is nice because they're a little bit more independent than the Microsoft and the Google courses. They have like a really basic course, which is still pretty long. I think it's like 20 to 50 hours, I'm not sure. But so they're taking you through the whole journey, like, okay, what is AI? How is AI actually solving problems, going to machine learning and neural networks. And the second course is about building AI, which is also nice if you're a little bit more advanced. You can check it out. There are a lot of informations on how like you can build your own AI and use the tools to build your own AI. And at the end of the course, it's also your task to build your own AI project. And now I think we'll have some activities for you, right?
Yes, exactly. Just a small recap of part one is in the way of your discussion groups. So just to make it quick, what we could take away from part one is there are national initiatives and successful use cases for AI for social impact in the EU. Successful implementation of AI solution is achieved through co-creation methods and methodology. This methodology is often used by social innovation and social entrepreneurial actors like you. And there are a lot of problems that can be solved with AI solutions and a lot of free resources. And to now really have a focus on this problem-based appliance of artificial intelligence, we thought it would be a good topic of discussion for you in small groups to talk about what problems in your organization or which challenges in the field of your impact work have a potential to be addressed with artificial intelligence. And for us, really important is this perspective on, okay, we have a problem and this we can solve with AI, maybe. And yeah, so now we will have some breakout rooms. And these breakout rooms, in this breakout rooms, you can take this question with you and discuss this a little bit. And while these breakout rooms are in progress, I can give you already a little glimpse to part two. In part two, we will talk about why Europe, basically. Like there are some advantages of building social innovation AI in Europe, and we'll talk about them and also about the ecosystems and give our perspective also as some of the resist tools that we develop, how could they be applied?
Okay, I will open the rooms now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Laura.
The timing.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
All right. So we'll close after 10 minutes. There will be running 60 seconds to return. So.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm opening the rooms. Happy discussions.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Toby, Laura, are you also joining the rooms?
No, I still have to see if everybody's getting in there and so.
Yeah, let's have a quick planning.
Yeah.
Is the
Just
recording?
keep in mind that we have the recording in progress.
can you stop it and then restart it? And there will be 2.
Yes. Yeah. Pause. Okay, I will pause it now.
Okay.
So the breakout sessions are still running for like 10 seconds. Yeah, they got the reminder now that it's closed, but they don't return, which is a good sign. Welcome back to the first people that returned already. I think the others are still in hot discussions, but in 20 seconds, they have no chance anymore. They have to return, so won't be here alone for a long time anymore. So welcome back, everybody. I quickly take over the word from Toby. I'm also working at Zukunft 2. I guess you know already. And we wanted to give you the quick chance to maybe share some flashlight impressions from your breakout sessions. So what have you discussed? What was interesting? Maybe what did you discover? Or also pose any questions that you have. So if there's anything before that you weren't clear about, or that you didn't understand, that you didn't get right, or maybe something also came up during the discussions now. So we want to give you 5 minutes for a quick exchange. If there's any questions that we can't answer right now because we don't have the time, then just put them in the chat and we'll discuss them. Anyways, put your questions in the chat so that we can get them together. And if you have any impressions from your breakout sessions, then just show up and talk. It would be interesting to hear if there was anything that you experienced. Anybody?
Okay, so I would like to mention some points which we discussed in our group. That we discussed that it's really important the context where we use this AI tools, and also especially with which vulnerable groups we use that, because when our colleague in our group, she's working with mental health issues with youngsters. And we discussed that this younger generation, of course, is maybe easier to adopt some AI tools, but if we take elderly group, for example, in some rural areas, so it can be a little bit more complicated to use this AI tools. So it's we discussed that it's really important maybe to find the groups to which you can adapt this AI tools, and to look to the context as well, where you are using this, of course, AI tools. Yeah, so this is small observation.
Yeah, thanks, Arun, for that observation. Sounds valid. Anybody else who wants to share something? If that's not the case, we can also just, I like always put your questions in the chat and we'll answer them later. We'll have a bit of time later. And if nobody wants to share their experience anymore, we can just dive into the next content field part, whatever. Back to Toby.
Right. Thank you so much, Laura, and thank you for your impulses. And we go to part 2, which is called AI for Social Impact. Why Europe? Because when you look at the general artificial intelligence discussion, the development mostly is happening in the United States and China. And most of the talk from experts is around global developments in AI. And so far, the perspective on Europe is a little bit different than on the United States and China, so to say, if you say it softly. But of course, we focus on Europe because we are in Europe, but also for some other reasons, and those we want to discuss now. And I pass on to Mark.
Yes, so that's a hard slide for Monday morning, I know that. That's why I tried to find a nice metaphor to make it a little bit more easy. And so we're looking at the prototypical ecosystem for artificial intelligence. And I was thinking about using a metaphor like being an AI city. And for an AI city, you would need an AI mayor. And this AI mayor is basically the policy framework. He's setting all the rules on how the AI city operates, basically. In the EU, we have a lot of rules on European level and also on national levels. We have a lot of data policy frameworks, AI strategies in all levels of our institutions. And for the city to run, we also need some financing. So we have the financial infrastructure, which is important to have because AI investments are really big. We will look at that a little bit in the next slide, I think. Also, one important key factor for the AI city are the AI citizens. And the AI citizens, they need to get education, university programs, they need to gain all the tech skills also in schools. So this is a big part, the talents, which are also in the EU, also coming a lot from other countries outside of the EU. And one of the cores is the AI city factory district, let's say it like this, which are the chips, the infrastructural and AI software, the telecom and energy infrastructure. Basically, you can think about it like the CPUs, the GPUs, they're the heart of the factory. The infrastructural and AI software, these are where all the management systems are running to keep the factory running, basically. And the telecom and energy infrastructure, they keep the lights on, let's say. So it's literally the power source of the AI ecosystem. One major part is also the data infrastructure. You can, in this metaphor of an AI city, you can imagine it as being a library, like a really massive library, where all the knowledge of AI is being gathered in like open data models in data markets or data exchanges. And then we have the AI cloud compute infrastructure, which is like the really cool, smart skyscraper. That's a shiny thing, the powerhouse that basically makes AI happen. It's storing massive amounts of data and also building advanced AI models or foundation models. And so that's a prototypical setup of an ecosystem of this AI city. And later, thank you. Yeah, just to sum it up a little bit, the AI ecosystem relies on traditional factors, of course, like every ecosystem does, on finance and policies, but talents, data, and compute are in the center and really specific for the AI ecosystem because these are also things the whole world is competing about, let's say so, in the AI ecosystem. And now we're getting a little bit more concrete. So we're taking a look at how does the AI ecosystem actually looks in Europe. And as we've seen, financial infrastructure is a big part in the AI city. This is the global investments you can see here in AI. They've rose by 1,200% in the last 10 years, from about 14 billion to 200 billion almost. And you can see that there's a lot of private, like the green bullets here. They're private investments. You can see that there's a lot of private investments, merger and acquisitions, and I guess in the next couple of years, as most of the AI companies are still private, public offerings will also increase a lot. And here we see VC investments, venture capital investments in AI. This is a comparison, like a really simple comparison between the US, China, and the European Union. And I think that's a picture you can see in a lot of tech areas, or in general, actually, when you look at financial infrastructure. The US is very strong in venture capital, and the EU has only like 1/6 of all the venture capital investments in AI comparison to the US, and China also actually is quite well in the game here, with double of the investments as the EU. So if we take a look at the human infrastructure, things also changed a lot in the last 10 years. This is a statistic about bachelor's graduates in AI-related studies, which are new informatics, computer science, computer engineering, and classical IT bachelors. And as you can see, like we have in the whole EU, this is the average number now. We have approximately 55% more bachelor graduates and 115% more master graduates since the last 10 years. It depends a little bit on which country you look. But for example, if you take Poland, which has a little bit less in comparison to 10 years ago, Poland in total still have, like, I think is the country with the fourth most graduates in AI relevant studies. So they're actually in total already on the top. Thank you. And now you might ask, like, are they all getting a job? Probably yes. AI job postings, this is a statistic. I mean, I don't know how scientific it is. It's so they took data from LinkedIn and checked, okay, how many job postings are there, and approximately 1% of all job postings in the EU are AI jobs, basically. And if we look a little bit how things are in gender diversity when it comes to AI, we can see there's actually a big mismatch here, as we can see in a lot of the tech jobs. AI talents by gender worldwide, 27% are female, approximately, and 73% are male. I think that's some data that is really interesting if you combine it with how the diversity is in social innovation, social entrepreneurship companies and organizations, because, like, for example, in social enterprises, you find relative diverse, gender diverse organizations. So you have like 50-50 actually when it comes to female and male. So that would be a nice combination, a nice potential actually for social innovations to get more gender diversity into AI.
So then another look to the human infrastructure. Like Mark already mentioned, in the AI city, there is a lot of talents and a big need for talents. And here's one really interesting study from the Interface think tank. And they researched where Europe's AI workforce is coming from, and also where they are going. And this is really interesting to look at from a European perspective. So Europe is in a global competition, and we are losing significant AI talents to the US. But we are also have the great pleasure that people with AI skills from India coming to the European Union, especially to Ireland and the UK, to work in the artificial intelligence area. Also, what is important is that the educational backgrounds of the European AI professionals is quite high. It's most of the time a master's or a PhD degree in comparison to the US and India, where most of the talents have a bachelor degree. For the European Union in general, it implicates that there should be a regulatory leadership, and educational institutions should be uniquely positioned to attract and retain AI talent. So I think important takeaway from this is that the talents are coming also from Europe, but they're leaving Europe. And this correlates also with an interesting report from the OECD on, they did a review on the artificial intelligence ecosystem in Germany. And one of the really interesting findings was that Germany has implemented a national AI strategy, and Germany has made significant strides in impactful AI research, with both public and private institutions featuring among global leaders in AI research publications. So not just is Europe a powerhouse for developing AI talents, it is also a powerhouse for AI research. So a lot of AI research is done in Europe and in Germany. So part of the knowledge ecosystem for artificial intelligence is based in Europe.
Okay, now we will take a look at the prototypical ecosystem of social innovation, social entrepreneurship, which is also a main part for us in the Resist project. And I think most of us also worked on this in the last year. So the core of the ecosystem, no metaphor here, it's a little bit easier to understand. The core of the ecosystem here are the social innovators and entrepreneurs that are basically prioritizing social and environmental impact before profit, as traditional businesses do. And these can be, there's this quadruple helix model. These can be actors in civil society, in traditional businesses, government actors, or academia. And around this core of social innovators, there's a very strong support structure. This is something, a model we use in the Resist project a lot. So there's a support structure that gives the financing, that gives consulting. There's a network support structure, digital and physical infrastructure. And also here, all these actors, these 4 actors from the Helix model are also active. You can imagine, for example, that a university gives grants to social innovators, like accelerator grants for social innovators, or civil society does research or education programs, or the government provide spaces, reusing spaces, so cheaper office infrastructure spaces for the social innovators and entrepreneurs, because often they struggle to find financing. And around this layer of support structure, we can find, in the next slide, an impact-oriented market. So this would be the prototypical, the ideal ecosystem for social innovation, social entrepreneurship, where a market is being created that has its whole focus on social environmental impact. And for that, of course, we need to measure impact, be able to measure impact. There are also a lot of models, which is also part of our Resist project, how to measure impact in ecosystems, how to measure impact for social innovators and entrepreneurs themselves. There can be public-private partnerships in forms of financing, for example. ethical consumer markets that also prioritize social and environmental impact, or mission-oriented innovation policy, which is also a part of the Resist project. Basically, that's innovation policy oriented to social or environmental missions, but it can also be CSR corporations, public procurement, also very important. For example, opening public procurement for social innovators and social entrepreneurs. Sometimes they're being excluded, so either it's an NGO or it's a traditional business, and here there's a lot of possibilities to actually create an impact-oriented market. And this whole model gives a nice ecosystem for social innovators.
So now you have seen basically a prototypical ecosystem for AI. Then some facts of the European ecosystem for AI, the traditional ecosystem for AI, and a prototypical social innovation, social entrepreneurship ecosystem. And now we'll focus on this like really big questions. Why should social innovation and social impact ecosystems that are leveraging AI come from Europe? And a really important part, as Mark mentioned, this artificial intelligence city has a mayor, and this mayor in Europe is quite strong and also able to act, and able to release policies that are quite powerful. And this is a very unique situation in Europe, that Europe is a policy innovator when it comes to the digital space in general. And this is quite unique, and we can leverage that. So we have certain policies in place, but also coming. One really big AI mayor will be the AI Act, which I will explain a little bit, not in detail, of course. But we also have other policies already in place, like the GDPR. And the GDPR is like a flagship policy all over the world, and how to protect the data of the citizens, and how to give citizens the rights over their own data, which is one cornerstone, or could be one big cornerstone for democratic friendly artificial intelligence ecosystems. Then we have the DSA, the Digital Service Act, and it creates a market where there is accountability from digital service providers for content moderation, transparency, also advertising protection against illegal content. So it gives us a legal framework how to operate in the digital space on certain areas. And then we have the Digital Markets Act, which ensures fair competition in the digital space. And it regulates, for example, or it regulates so that there are no monopolies, let's say it like this. And there are also other policies coming. This is why I put 3 dots there. Also other policies in place. But as you can see, there are a lot of factors that create a new market that is different from the United States and also different from China, and that aligns a lot with social impact and social innovation factors. What we are also having is this beautiful AI Act that everyone, a lot of people who are in the traditional AI sector do not really like, because it regulates the artificial intelligence applications in Europe. And And for us as social innovators and entrepreneurs, it gives us also a framework. And I want to address one thing quite quickly, which is like a huge argument that the AI Act prohibits innovation in Europe. And that is one reason why the European AI ecosystem is not strong. And this is not true. Like all of the experts, or most of the experts, agree that this is because of lacking funding and not because of policies. It's also a little bit counterintuitive why some policies should hinder innovation in general. So the objectives of the AI Act, I will go a little bit closer, is to ensure safety and trustworthiness of AI systems. It promotes innovation and investment in AI technologies because it implements like clear rules, and it safeguards fundamental rights and freedoms of individuals who are in touch or who gets in contact with the AI Act. The AI Act is a risk-based approach, so it categorizes different AI systems into 4 levels of risk, which are unacceptable risks. And these applications will then prohibited. High risks, there are strict requirements for those. And also then limited and minimal risks. And a lot of the AI applications that we are using most of the time are minimal or limited risk approaches. So there are also transparency requirements. So AI technologies have to inform the users when they are interacting with an AI, which I think is a great idea, and ensure users to understand how decisions are made by the AI system. That's quite tricky. And it also bans some practices, so, for example, to exploit vulnerable or specific groups like children, and also mass surveillance in public spaces is not allowed to use artificial intelligence systems with biometric identification. So we have a framework here that tells us really clear what is allowed and what not, what is high risk and what not. And that is unique in the global policy landscape and gives us some good framework to operate in. I think, and this is our thesis, that the digital policies that are in place in the European Union enable us as social innovators and social entrepreneurs to build an ecosystem for AI, because the policies support social innovators and entrepreneurs in creating value-driven competitive ecosystems. They're protecting citizens' data, which is in line with our values. They're reducing systemic risks, which is like also aligned with our values, and they're promoting a democracy-friendly approach to AI, which I think is also quite important to us. And in general, I think we should seize the global unique opportunity presented by policies shaping a potential ecosystem that creates a new market where European values align with social innovation. And this leads us to the beginning of the presentation. What we need as Europe for having our own Wikipedia moment in the AI age is strong ecosystems for artificial intelligence that are focusing on social innovation and social entrepreneurship. And that is quite important. And we have like this USP really, which is the policies are already in place, and we just have to build the rest. And we, as the Resist project, have also one really big challenge that we want to tackle, and it is opening up innovation support to social innovation and social entrepreneurship actors. So in the Interact Baltic Sea region project, Resist, we also developed tools to make traditional innovation support structures accessible to social innovation and social entrepreneurs. And this approach, I think, is a good approach, and it could also contribute to building a social innovation and social entrepreneurship AI ecosystem in Europe. So we don't build everything from scratch, but the EU will invest heavily into an AI ecosystem, and we should definitely work on opening these structures up so that they're not just focusing on traditional innovation, but also on social innovation. And also the framework we use in the Resist, the mission-oriented policymaking, could also support regional actors to create policies to support the local AI ecosystem for social innovation. To sum this, like really zoom out, to sum this a little bit up. To foster AI-driven social innovation and social entrepreneurship in Europe, we need to build an ecosystem at local, national, and EU-wide levels to support the development. The EU holds a globally unique position with policies on AI and data protection that align with our values of citizen-centered technology. We can seize this opportunity by building an ecosystem. One approach is to open traditional innovation and AI support structures to social innovation and social entrepreneurship actors. And the Wikipedia of the AI age moment has yet to be created. So why not in Europe? That's our bigger question. And we don't want to drop you like this. We also, like in the presentation, we have all of the links, of course, for which sources we used. And we also wanted to recommend some sources if you want to dig deeper into the different topics. So a really good source for European research on digital policies is the Interface think tank, and also the AI Now Institute. They're both writing scientific papers and also papers to inform policymakers. Then, of course, link to the Resist project if you want to stay in touch with the developments here. And if you want to have also a global perspective, of course, Interface and AI Now do have the global perspective, but a more global perspective you will find also on the OECD AI Lab, which collects all of the policies all over the world implemented for AI and also all of the data. Then the Stanford AI Index is really good overview, which is published every year. And also, this is more like the traditional perspective on the general market, but also on the technology. There's an investment firm, and they bring out the State of AI report each year, and it sums up their projections of what will happen, for example, in 2024, and then they correct it or see if it happens, and focus mainly on investments and technology. So, thank you from us. And now it's time for questions and also, of course, for discussion and comments and, yeah, challenging some of the things we just presented. So feel free. I cannot see the chat. I have to say that. So feel free to just like jump in if you have a question or like any thoughts on the content we just presented. It doesn't have to be just on part 2. But of course, that might be just right into your mind. So I don't see direct questions, but of course, you can write us also after the webinar if there are some thoughts that came to your mind. And I'm not sure. Oh yeah, maybe should we go into a last discussion, or
More time.
we have 5 minutes to either be earlier, quicker, or to discuss. And we could discuss also these questions if that is easier. So for me and for Mark and Laura, and of course the whole Resist team, it would also be interesting to know what puzzle piece could your organization or region contribute to an European AI for impact ecosystem, just like as an direct result of this talk or a thought of this talk.
Maybe I can make a start, as I'm not only working at Zukunft 2, I'm also a student here in Berlin. And I think what I'm taking of this webinar is also talking maybe to my university about getting more AI for impact courses in my academic courses. I think this would be a big step for the university because we're mainly a law and economics university. So we don't have a lot of AI courses, and specifically not a lot of AI for impact courses. So that's the puzzle piece. I think the other half of me could contribute to this ecosystem.
That's a really good start, and we need to have this like domino effect. So are there some other thoughts about this topic, or questions are also always welcome?
I was just thinking, as I'm working in this mental health organization, or yeah, and I was thinking that we could maybe contribute some of the psychological expertise into chatbots so that they could be used in a broader spectrum, like chatbots that could support mental health. I think something that is needed quite broadly.
Yeah, so as I understand you right, like smartened up the tech solution with your expertise. Great. Thank you, Charlotte.
Hi, Martin here. Do we have one? Didn't want to interrupt you.
No. Go ahead, please, Martin.
I just put it into the chat. We are the initiators of the AI Impact Days, and I think Laura was joined our event in October, and I think the mission is quite similar. Maybe we should talk how we could combine and could be some part of the ecosystem or provide the ecosystem or something like that.
Yeah, that would be great. Laura,
let's talk. We're just planning the next event. It will be in April in Berlin once again, and maybe we can talk on that.
Yes, that would be great. That would be really cool. Thank you, Martin.
Just we'll connect afterwards and then we talk.
Yeah. Maybe you can also send us your contact.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
I put it in the chat.
Thank you. So if you have like one urgent question, you should tell us now. But otherwise, I would thank you so much for attending this webinar. And if there are other ideas or also questions coming up, please feel free to contact us.
I also put the email address of Toby on the slide before that one that we see right now. So if you have any questions afterwards, you can just directly mail him. And the link I put in the chat, so you can always find it and maybe get back to all the contents that we dropped today.
So thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Thank
so much.
you.
Thank you, Martin.
We'll be talking. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your day.